Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? Good afternoon. The devotional today will be led by Representative Bram Kleppner of Burlington.
Good afternoon. The only thing most people know about Amelia Earhart, if they have heard of her at all, is that she flew airplanes and she disappeared. That's too bad, because the day she disappeared was just one day in a lifetime full of notable days and important work. For instance, she was also a writer. She published 3 books, dozens of articles, and hundreds of lectures and speeches, including one that she delivered in this chamber. On March 7th, 1935, almost exactly 90 years ago, Amelia stood right where I am standing and delivered a speech to this body on the future of aviation. She also wrote some poetry, including a poem about courage, which is something that I think we will all need in the next few weeks, few months, and few years. It's short, just 12 lines. And when she wrote this, she was already an amateur pilot, but she wasn't famous yet. It was before her first flight across the Atlantic, before the celebrity and the ticker tape parades, the trips to the White House, the national speaking tours, before all that. When she wrote this, she was an unknown young social worker in Boston who liked spending her days off hanging out at the airfield and working on airplane engines. This is called Courage. Courage is the price that life exacts for granting peace. The soul that knows it not knows no release from little things, knows not the livid loneliness of fear, nor mountain heights where bitter joy can hear the sound of wings. How can life grant us boon of living compensate for dull gray ugliness and pregnant hate unless we dare the soul's dominion? Each time we choose, we pay with courage to behold resistless day and count it fair.
Members, we have one House bill for introduction this afternoon. House Bill 517 is an act relating to military protection orders, introduced by Representative Odie of Burlington and others. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H 517, an act relating to military protection orders.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Judiciary. We have a bill on the notice calendar requiring referral to a money committee pursuant to House Rule 35A. Senate Bill 12 is an act relating to sealing criminal history records affecting the revenue of the state. The bill is referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. Members, we have a joint House resolution to take up at this time. JRH 5 is a joint resolution authorizing limited remote joint committee voting through the remainder of the calendar year 2025, offered by the House members of the Joint Rules Committee. Please listen to the reading of the resolution by title only.
JRH 5, joint resolution authorizing limited remote joint committee voting through the remainder of calendar year 2025.
Now the resolution has been read and it is placed on the calendar for action on the next legislative day pursuant to House Rule 52. Members, we received a request to read a House concurrent resolution that the House and Senate adopted pursuant to the consent calendar. HCR 120 is a House concurrent resolution recognizing May 2025 as National Tennis Month in Vermont. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Whereas the organizational history of the sport of tennis in the United States began on May 21st, 1881, when the United States National Lawn Tennis Association, now known as the United States Tennis Association, USTA, was established in New York City. And whereas in 2025, the USTA is composed of over 500,000 members and promotes the sport of tennis at all levels, from beginners to professionals, and sponsors the annual U.S. Open, the nation's premier tennis tournament, which is held annually at the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center in Flushing, New York. And whereas the organization's broad promotion of tennis, regardless of age, environment, condition, or ability, is facilitated through the USTA Adaptive Tennis Grant Program. And whereas the Physical Activity Council, a major source of athletic participation data in the United States, recently surveyed over 18,000 individuals 6 years of age and older regarding their involvement in 122 separate sports, and based on the survey's results, extrapolated that in 2024, 25.7 million Americans played tennis. And whereas the USTA operates throughout 17 regions of the country, including USTA New England, and whereas appreciating the designation of a month commemorating tennis will showcase and benefit all aspects of this popular sport, the USTA has designated May 2025 its 144th anniversary month as National Tennis Month. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the General Assembly recognizes May 2025 as National Tennis Month in Vermont. And be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be directed to send a copy of this resolution to USTA New England.
Are there any announcements? Member from Jericho.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Across the country, tennis has been recognized as the world's healthiest sport, offering players a unique blend of physical, mental, and social benefits. Studies show that regular play can boost cardiovascular health, improve coordination and balance, reduce stress, and even increase life expectancy by 9.7 years. At USTA Vermont, we embrace the mission of growing tennis to inspire healthier people and communities. Programs like Bennington Aces, Kids on the Ball, and Middlebury Indoor Tennis ACAF make tennis affordable and accessible, ensuring that everyone is welcome on the court. By partnering with Junior Team Tennis, USTA League Play, the Senior Games, Tennis in the Parks Learn to Play, the Friendship Cup, and local facility programming, they mark commitment to improving lives through tennis. Today, here in Vermont, we proudly join the nationwide celebration by officially proclaiming May 2025 as National Tennis Month in the Green Mountain State. Joining me today for this proclamation, I have Joanna Beal, President of USTA Vermont, Tammy Azer, Chair of Youth Tennis, Frank Constantino, Treasurer of USTA Vermont, Heidi Willoughby, Chair of the State League Committee, Jen Weiss, Recreation Coordinator for the State of Vermont, Kevin Platt, Senior Games, Sandy Kish, Vermont Adaptive, Toby Fuller, Tennis in the Park, Colleen Shepard, here from USTA New England, and Brian Ulmer, also from USTA New England. If the body could help me welcome them, that would be great. Thank you.
Will the guest of the member from Jericho please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements, member from Burlington?
Madam Speaker, these Green Mountains are at the height of spring, and we warmly welcome the arrival of the growing season and its associated hot and humid conditions. So I would like to make a motion that any member of any gender be allowed to remove any coats, jackets, blazers, capes, cloaks, shawls, or other outerwear.
The member from Burlington moves that we suspend our rules and allow members to not be required to wear their jackets in the chamber. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Nay. Oof. All right. Will the House please come to order? Was there a true division called? All those in favor? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please rise. You may be seated. Now, all those opposed, please rise. Will the House please come to order? You may be seated. Member from Milton?
To clarify, so if the yays get it, we still dress up though. We just don't have to wear these. Correct?
Member from Milton, your point of inquiry, if we allow rules to be suspended and members not be required to wear jackets in the chamber, we still have the remaining parts of the dress code to adhere by.
Thank you for the clarification.
Will the House please come to order? Members, just a reminder that a rules suspension requires 3/4 vote. So those present are 121. So you would need to achieve 91 votes. The number of yeses, 83, the number of noes, 38, and you have failed to suspend rules. Will the House please come to order? Member from Burlington.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to make a point of personal privilege and express disappointment that people would vote to choose for others to suffer needlessly. And I think that this is telling and symbolic of where we're at as a civilization. Thank you.
Members, will the House please come to order? Member from Weston.
Madam Speaker, for 2 years when I was 7 and 8 years old, my parents stuffed me in the back of a station wagon to drive around New England on every vacation to look for a place to open a bookstore. After much contemplation, we moved from an unnamed neighboring state to Manchester Center to open Northshire Bookstore. That marked the beginning of decades of entrepreneurship and success. They were cultural creatives before the term existed, bringing information and entertainment to our little corner of the state. Next year will mark 50th anniversary of the business. Along the way, they raised 2 boys and managed mostly to rein in my errant ways. And they always provided a loving and safe home filled with opportunities. Madam Speaker, please join me in welcoming my parents, Ed and Barbara Morrow, to the State House.
Will the family of the member from Weston please rise and be recognized? Member from Fairfield.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Probably not something that happens very often, but I agree with the member from Burlington. Only some of us have to wear a jacket. I just want to remind members of that. Some of you don't have to. So to stand up and say...
Member from Heartland, what is your point of order?
I'm sorry, Madam Speaker, but we're debating a motion that's already been voted.
Yes. May I see you at the podium and all House leadership, please? The House is in recess. Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? Member from Heartland. Member, I find your point of order well taken. There is no debate during announcements. That is reserved for the orders of the day. We had the vote has concluded, and we are to move on with our business. So thank you for that. Member from Fairfield.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I digress so we can get to the orders of the day.
Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, orders of the day. Members, we will begin with House Bill 396, which is an act relating to the creation of the Molly Beatty Distinguished Service Award. The bill passed the Senate with a proposal of amendment that is printed in today's calendar. Member from Stowe.
Madam Speaker, H396 is an act related to the creation of the Molly Beatty Distinguished Service Award, passed the House on March 19, 2025. The other body passed the bill in concurrence with proposal of amendment on May 9, 2025. The amendment is technical and does not alter the substance or intent of the legislation. It removes the word retiree, and instead the amendment refers to a current or former state employee. The term partner was left unchanged and unmodified and continues to allow the department to present this award to either an organization or an individual that has partnered with the Department of Forest, Parks, and Recreation on activities within the department's jurisdiction. And Madam Speaker, the House Agriculture, Food Resiliency, and Forestry Committee voted to concur with the Senate amendment on a vote of 701. They also noted that there was de minimis or no impact other than the creation of a plaque. And we request that the body's support. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The question is, shall the House concur in the Senate proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have concurred in the Senate proposal of amendment. Up next is House Bill 461, which is an act relating to expanding employee access to unpaid leave. The bill passed the Senate with a proposal of amendment that is printed in today's calendar. Member from Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, as you recall, I previously stood before this body to report H461 as it passed out of the House Committee on General and Housing in March. I return today to walk you through the changes made by the Senate and to recommend that we concur with their amendment. If you would like to follow along, you can follow along on page 2575 of today's calendar. Section 1 of the bill is the intent. While this didn't change, I do want to take a moment to say that it does remain unchanged. H461 continues to prioritize equitable access to leave for all Vermonters, recognizing the diverse makeup of modern families. Section 2, definitions. Several key updates have been made to the definition section. So domestic violence is a reference to the definition of abuse found in 15 VSA Section 1101 has been added to the definition of domestic violence. Employees. So the definition of an eligible employee able to take unpaid leave has been amended to add airline flight crew who meet the criteria to take unpaid leave under the Federal Family and Medical Leave Act. Airline flight crew are subject to special rules under the FMLA, which is the federal law, because of the restrictions on the number of hours they are permitted to fly annually. This change would allow airline flight crew to be covered by Vermont's Parental and Family Leave Act if they may meet the federal eligibility requirements. In loco parentis, the second section of this definition was removed. Specifically, the phrase financial support is not a requirement for this relationship, recognizing caregiving roles beyond the traditional definitions has been deleted. Language allowing leave to attend hearings related to stalking and sexual assault has been removed because leave for this purpose is already permitted under existing law. The Senate's amendment permits victims of domestic violence or their family members to use unpaid leave to respond to a fatality or near fatality related to domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking, either for the employee or a family member. Additionally, the Senate inserted clarifying language to allow leave for the meeting with a state's attorney or law enforcement officer on behalf of the employee or the employee's family member. The statutory references for sexual assault and stalking have been changed to the definitions in Title 12's provisions on orders against stalking and sexual assault rather than by reference to the criminal definitions. Section 3 is leave. Bereavement leave. The House passed version allowed employees to take up 2 weeks of unpaid leave within the 12 weeks available for bereavement leave. Eligible employees can take leave in relation to the administration or settlement of a deceased family member's estate. The Senate amendment specifies that two of the weeks available, nor no more than 5 consecutive workdays may be taken at a time. In documentation, the Senate added that an employer may request documentation to verify the qualifying family relationship when an employer takes unpaid leave for a family member. The Senate's amendment maintains the original intent of the bill, ensuring inclusive, responsive leave policies for all Vermonters while strengthening language for clarity and consistency. Your House Committee on General and Housing took a straw poll on the Senate's changes with a result of 10-0-1 in favor of concurrence. On behalf of the committee, I respectfully ask this body to support our recommendation and vote to concur with the Senate's amendment to H 461.
The question is, shall the House concur in the Senate proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have concurred in the Senate proposal of amendment. Next is House Bill 481, which is an act relating to stormwater management. Member from Burlington.
Madam Speaker, I move that we postpone action on H 481 for one legislative day.
The member from Burlington moves that we postpone action on House Bill 481 for one legislative day. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have postponed action on House Bill 481 for one legislative day. Members, the final bill on our action calendar today is House Bill 493, which is an act relating to making appropriations for the support of the government. The bill was referred to a committee of conference on the disagreeing votes of the two chambers. The committee of conference has met and considered the same and recommends that the House adopt its report, which is printed in today's calendar. Member from Middlebury.
Madam Speaker, the Committee of Conference report for the FY26 budget, H 493, was voted out unanimously by the committee on Friday afternoon and agreed to by the Senate on Tuesday morning. To get to this point, the Committee of Conference worked with administration officials, standing committees, and many interested stakeholders, including members of the public and legislators who testified at public hearings or submitted written testimony during the budget building process. As a Committee of Conference, the 6 conferees worked together to resolve differences between the House and the Senate, with many compromises made along the way by both sides. The result, as I've stated, was a unanimous vote. Some of the goals we had going into this conference included minimizing increases to base appropriations, as base expenditures tend to increase over time and are harder to change later. We also wanted to maximize flexibility in terms of future need for general fund money, because we are not optimistic about the revenue forecast and we will receive in July. And of course, we expect there may be significant cuts to federal funds as the reconciliation process makes its way through Congress. The final report ended up very close to the House position overall. Base appropriations were actually $6 million less than the original House position, and one-time money was $1 million below the original House amount. One of the things we did was to separately fence off money for bills that are still working their way through the House and Senate. 5 bills totaling just over $18 million have had their money accounted for. If these bills pass, the money is there for them, and if they don't, the money drops to the bottom line. We transferred $77.2 million to the Education Fund to help stabilize property taxes for 1 year, and we removed the JTOC transfer of $20 million to help stabilize the Transportation Fund. In the end, $2.5 million of available revenue remains unspent for future budget needs. Regarding how we are dealing with potential decreases in revenue and cuts in federal funds, we are handling this in a couple of ways. I actually used the Senate addendum to the calendar, but I've now put in the numbers for today's House calendar, so if you want to follow along, you can look in today's calendar. First, in section B 1101 on page 2654, we have a short contingency list, not to be confused with the waterfalls we have had in the past where lots of additional projects are included in case revenue comes in better than expected. Included in this contingency are $50 million appropriated to the Agency of Administration to be transferred to the Emergency Board while the General Assembly is not in session in the event of a reduction of federal funds. The E-Board has authority to spend up to 2% of general fund currently, and that's about $50 million. So this simply sets aside that money for the E-Board to appropriate funds if needed. $30 million is reserved for general fund for future appropriations or transfer by the General Assembly for addressing federal funding shortfalls, and another $30 million is reserved in the general fund for future appropriation or transfer by the General Assembly for addressing federal funding shortfalls, Vermont Medicaid and other human services needs, property tax relief, permanent housing initiatives, or other uses to be determined in the best interests of the public. So a bit of flexibility there. Second, section E 127.1, starting on page 2675, section B1 says the General Assembly may unreserve and appropriate or transfer an amount not to exceed 10% of the balance reserve, which is also known as the General Fund Balance Reserve, also known as the Rainy Day Fund. And we may use that to fund unforeseen or emergency needs. The balance in this fund is $98 million, so we just have under $10 million available. Finally, section E 127.2, starting on page 2676, we outline the amounts of federal fund reductions that can be handled by the administration alone or by the Joint Fiscal Committee and the E-Board, and then finally, what would trigger the return of the General Assembly to address the situation. This report reflects the input of many, a great number of conversations, and compromise all around. We worked hard to address key priorities and serve Vermonters well now while maintaining flexibility for the inevitable cuts that are to come. I would like to thank the amazing staff at the Joint Fiscal Office who worked long hours and appeared to have endless patience as we asked questions, often more than once, revised language 3 times at the last minute, changed numbers and then changed them back again, made up every variation of spreadsheet we could think of and then some, and were resolutely supportive throughout the process. We could never have put this budget together without you. Finally, I want to thank my fellow House conferees, the member from Chittenden and the member from Burlington, who worked tirelessly to get answers on short notice, kept me informed as to their own thinking, and were willing to compromise in order to come to agreement, even when it was hard to do so. You can't have compromise unless everyone is willing, and this team was willing. You have my heartfelt thanks and gratitude. Madam Speaker, as I've stated already, the vote of the Committee of Conference was a 6-0 unanimous vote, and we ask the body to support your House team by voting yes, and when the vote is taken, I ask that it be taken by roll. Thank you.
Member from Middlebury requests that when the vote is taken, it be taken by roll. Is the member sustained? The member is sustained. When the vote is taken, it will be taken by roll. The question is, shall the House adopt the report of the Committee of Conference on its part? Are you ready for the question? Member from Chittenden.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The bill before you is not perfect, but it is a really good compromise on so many fronts. And if I may paraphrase the member from Newport, this is a really big deal. I am proud to have been a member last week of the Committee of Conference. As the member from Middlebury said, there was a lot of give and take, and that's important. This bill touches on so many parts of what we do as state government. And while we all have different priorities in different areas, I think collectively we did our best we worked with committee chairs and other committee leadership when we needed work on language to get things ironed out. We did. I want to thank the members of the administration for keeping track of what we're doing, offering suggestions, some of which we took and some of which, we maybe went a little differently. But in the end, I think all are in agreement that this was a good product. And given the uncertainty that perhaps lies ahead with not only our federal funding, but our own economic forecast, we were cautious and fiscally responsible. I too would like to thank my fellow conferees, the member from Burlington, and especially our chair, the member from Middlebury. She is a taskmaster, no two ways about it, and she kept us on track. She is also pragmatic, and most importantly, she was willing to listen to me. Not always in agreement, but listen. Even when I would say things under my breath that she would pick up on. I too would like to thank our fellow House Appropriations Committee members, which were there to help when a specific issue came up that was in their area. We need an answer. Talk to whoever you need to talk to. There were times when the member from Underhill was kind of a member of the conference committee because he had to be. We needed answers. We needed help. I also want to thank, again, the members of the joint fiscal team who are seated in the Senate seats. As the chair mentioned, we could not have done it without them. When we leave late in the day, they're still at work getting ready for the early morning meeting the next day. And we very, very much appreciate it. And I would be missed if I didn't recognize the other member of the joint fiscal team who, for some reason, chose not to sit with her colleagues in the Senate seat, but is watching us from the back of the room because our committee would do nothing all year long if it wasn't for, is it Aaron or? Sometimes I have a habit of calling her my daughter's name and or our chair's name, and it cost me dearly during the session. So she now has a placard. Her name is Aaron, and we are very, very thankful for her service. And I lastly want to thank members of the Senate Appropriations team that worked with us and were willing to roll up their sleeves and get the job done. I am proud to support this budget. Thank you.
The question is, shall the House adopt the report of the Committee of Conference on its part? Member from Northfield.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't have line by line or specific questions to raise this afternoon, but I do have a couple of points I want to make about why I support this budget. I deal better in percentages for big picture thinking than I do with the raw numbers, which are most of what we received. So I looked at the general fund alone and saw the governor's proposal was a 6.8% increase, to which the Committee of Conference report adds 1.4%. And the budget in its entirety, the governor's increase was 2.8% from last year, and the Committee of Conference added 1.2% to that for a total of 4%. So when I look at the general fund, just to make a specific subpart of how I think through a budget in terms of my constituents and my positions, I look at that 1.4%, which is $34 million, and I look at which things in that are things that I, if I were acting on my own, would say, that's really essential. That's something the governor didn't include in his overall, I think, very positive and careful budget that I think actually needed to be a part of it. And when I go through those line items, I end up finding that about a third of them are things I believe are essential. The largest part of that, as an example, is the $5.14 million in general funds that provides a 2% increase to our community providers versus an inflation rate that's estimated at 2.8% and is probably higher in Vermont because our healthcare cost increases are so very much higher than the rest of the country. So that means they're actually being cut if they did not get this increase, and even with it, we're still cutting them a little bit. These are not surplus services. These are government services that we're subcontracting to our community providers, such as mental health supports, disability supports, programs to reach out to runaway and homeless youth. So, Madam Speaker, I can't say, well, a third of it I really believe in, but nobody else is allowed to have something they think is critically important to add to that when the overall total is such a small, reasonable percentage. But number two, Madam Speaker, as I read this budget, I saw 3 line items that said moved to a specific bill. In other words, they were moved out of the appropriation line items. Those connected to 3 bills: healthcare reform that's still pending, our homeless support reform that's still pending, and education reform. To me, that was a huge red flag that once again, we were doing something we've started doing in recent years. We were proposing and seeking to pass a budget that left some key costs out that would end up being added later. Madam Speaker, I am so very happy to be able to report to this body that I was wrong. We're doing the opposite this year. We're doing back to tradition, which would say the budget that we vote on should be our full budget. The percentage increases is something that we can tell our constituents are the actual numbers, because the term fencing separately this year does not mean pulled out and voted on separately at a future point. The money is in that bottom line. It is protected if those bills pass. I really appreciate that, and I am pleased to be able to support this year's budget.
The question is, shall the House adopt the report of the Committee of Conference on its part? Member from Burlington.
Madam Speaker, may I interrogate the Chair of Appropriations?
The member from Middlebury is interrogated.
Madam Speaker, I see that there's 77 point something million going put aside for tax relief for the next fiscal year. I'm curious what's going to happen in the next year to taxes without that one-time money being spent.
Madam Speaker, that's a very good question. And it's not a question that I have an answer to. Don't know what the budgets are going to be like, what the House Ways and Means Committee is going to do for a yield bill, what education reform is going to be. All of those things, we just don't know. So it's really hard for me to tell. It's a concern, absolutely. This is one-time money used to stabilize property taxes for 1 year. And so that leaves very much open the question of what will happen in the next fiscal year.
Thank you, member. Madam Speaker, I appreciate the body's effort to lower tax rates immediately for people during these difficult times, but I'm concerned about how that might have unintended harm in the next year, the biennium, and beyond, because we saw during COVID various subsidies and benefits that lowered the true impact of taxes, and then between assessments and drying up of COVID money and inflation, people saw a dramatic tax increase, and we're going to be seeing potentially a massive increase in insurance premiums while federal tax subsidies expire, the potential loss of Medicaid, which is a significant portion of our state budget. So I support the budget and the many positive investments in it, but I just wanted to express my concern about us taking a leap of faith based on past experience, and I'm concerned that we're going to see a rise in tax rates in the year after fiscal year 27, because we didn't save some money for that. That being said, Madam Speaker, I want to thank every member for their hard work in creating this budget. I feel like we all did the best we could in a very uncertain time. And I have a feeling that we're going to be back here sooner than we think, and so I appreciate that Appropriations has taken that into account. We did the best that we could, but I think we're going to have to rethink the entire way that we live pretty soon. And I just encourage everyone to stay open-minded and to be creative and to remain compassionate. Thank you.
The question is, shall the House adopt the report of the Committee of Conference on its part? Are you ready for the question? If so, will the clerk please call the roll?
Arsenault of Williston.
2 minutes. Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? Will the House please come to order? I would like to remind members that we are in the middle of a roll call vote. Members and guests are prohibited from using computers, phones, or any type of electronic device. Please refrain from the passing of notes and conversation during a roll call, and when the clerk calls your name, please answer in a loud and clear voice so the clerk can accurately record your votes. The question is, shall the House adopt the report of the Committee of Conference on its part? Will the clerk please continue to call the roll?
Austin of Colchester. Bailey of Hyde Park. Bartholomew of Heartland. Bartley of Fairfax. Rebecca of Winooski. Byrong of Virgins. Bishop of Colchester. Black of Essex. Bloomley of Burlington. Boslin of Westminster. Bosch of Clarendon. Bootenberry City. Boyden of Cambridge. Brady of Williston. Brannigan of Georgia. Brown of Richmond. Burdett of West Rutland. Burke of Brattleboro.
Yes.
Burkhardt of South Burlington. Yes. Burrows of West Windsor.
Yes.
Bird of Cabot. Campbell of St. Johnsbury. Canfield of Fairhaven. Caris Duncan of Whitingham. Casey of Montpelier.
Yes.
Casey of Hubbardton. Yes. Chapin of East Montpelier. Charlton of Chester. Christie of Hartford. Chena of Burlington. Coffin of Cavendish. Cole of Hartford. Conlon of Cornwall. Cooper of Pownell. Corcoran of Bennington. Cordes of Bristol. Critchlow of Colchester. DeMar of Venusburg. Dickinson of St. Albans Town. Dobrovich of Williamstown. Dodge of Essex. Dolan of Essex Junction. Dolgan of St. Johnsbury. Donahue of Northfield. Duke of Burlington. Durfee of Shaftesbury. Eastus of Guilford. Emmons of Springfield. Feltus of Linden. Galfetti of Berrytown. Garifano of Essex. Goldman of Rockingham. Goodnow of Brattleboro. Ghostland of Northfield. Granning of Jericho. Greer of Bennington. Gregoire of Fairfield. Hengo of Berkshire. Harpole of Glover. Harrison of Chittenden. Harvey of Castleton. Hedrick of Burlington. Higley of Lowell. Holcomb of Norwich. Hooper of Randolph. Hooper of Burlington. Houghton of Essex Junction. Hart of Rutland City. Holland of Rutland Town. Hunter of Manchester. James of Manchester. Kosenska of Burke. Keyser of Rutland City. Kimball of Woodstock. Klutner of Burlington. Kornheiser of Brattleboro. Cresnell, South Burlington. Labor of Morgan. Lally of Shelburne. Lalone of South Burlington. Lamont of Morristown. LaRush of Franklin. Lipsky of Stowe. Logan of Burlington. Long of Newfane. Luno of St. Albans City. McGuire of Rutland City. Millay of Pittsford. Marquardt of Coventry. Maslin of Thetford. McCann of Montpelier. McCoy of Pulteney. McFawn of Berrytown. McGill of Bridport. Mickless of Milton. Mahali of Calais. Minier of South Burlington. Morganella Milton. Morgan Emma Milton. Morse of Springfield. Morrissey of Bennington. Morrow of Weston. Rowicki of Putney. Nelson of Derby. Nielsen of Brandon. Nigro of Bennington. North of Ferrisburg. Noyes of Wolcott. Nugent, South Burlington. O'Brien of Tunbridge, Odie Burlington, Oliver of Sheldon, Olson of Starksboro, Page of Newport City, Parsons of Newberry, Pezzo of Colchester, Hinton of Dorset, Pouch of Heinsberg, Powers of Waterford, Priestley of Bradford, Pritchard of Pollitt, Quimby of Linden, Rachelson of Burlington, Sackowitz of Randolph, Shai of Middlebury, Sheldon of Middlebury, Sibilia of Dover, Southworth of Walden, Squirrel of Underhill, Steady of Milton, Stevens of Waterbury, Stone of Burlington, Supernut of Barnard, Sweeney of Shelburne, Taglavia Corinth, Taylor of Milton, Tomlinson of Winooski, Toof of St. Albans Town, Torrey Moortown, Walker of Swanton, Wazza Zachaberry City, Waters Evans of Charlotte, Wells of Brownington, White of Waitsfield, White of Bethel, Winter of Ludlow, Wood of Waterbury, Yakavoni of Morristown, Boonton of Berry City, Boyden of Cambridge, Bird of Cabot, Campbell St. Johnsbury, Carrie Duncan of Whitingham, Duke of Burlington, Higley of Lowell, Howard of Rutland City, Labor of Morgan, Malay of Pittsford, Nielsen of Brandon, Niagara of Bennington, Priestley of Bradford, and Walker of Swanton.
For purpose of explanation, member from Poultney.
Madam Speaker, I commend the conferees of the Committee of Conference for getting to a place everyone could agree. I believe this budget is the first budget in my time here that was, while higher than the governor's recommend, is closer to the governor's recommend than either the House or Senate recommends. Congratulations, conferees, and well done.
Member from Milton.
I ran to be a legislator for affordability. As a new legislator, I found a lot of bills that are written come at a cost to Vermonters. I voted yes in hopes in the future, writers of these bills think about the long-term cost to the taxpayers.
Members, please listen to the results of your vote. Those voting yes, 132. Those voting no, 3. The ayes have it, and the report of the Committee of Conference is adopted. Member from Poultney, can you please offer us a motion to deliver House Bill 493 to the governor forthwith? Would the House please come to order?
Madam Speaker, I make a motion to deliver House Bill 493 to the governor forthwith.
The member from Poultney moves that House Bill 493 be delivered to the governor forthwith. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have ordered House Bill 493 to be delivered to the governor forthwith. Members, that completes the orders of the day. Are there any announcements? Members, the chair has 2. Just a reminder that tomorrow morning is the Page's last day, so please be here on time to celebrate them on their last day. And secondly, after we adjourn, in the morning, we will have a caucus of the whole to hear about the housing bill. So at this time, members, it looks unlikely that we will need to come back in the afternoon. We're going to wait to see, but it looks like it won't be necessary. So again, we'll be meeting on time at 9:30 to honor the Pages, and after we finish our business, we will have a caucus of the whole to hear an update on the housing bill S-127. Are there any announcements? Seeing none. Member from Poultney, can you please offer us a motion to adjourn until Friday, May 16th at 9:30 a.m.?
Madam Speaker, I make a motion this body stand in adjournment until Friday, May 16th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
You have heard the motion. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and this body stands in adjournment.